Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Well, last presentation before the cocktails. My name is Laurent Pouget, and I'm going to talk about the Water Change project. So let's start by a brief introduction. The objective of the project is to study the global change impacts on water resources in order to propose adaptation measures. It's a 3-year duration project developed by two partners, CETAQUA, Water Technology Center, and CRY, which is a research center on applied hydrometeorology. We have different stakeholders involved in the project, such as the Spanish River Basin Agencies, Spanish Office of Climate Change, and some private companies, like in the water and energy business, and some of the regional institutions. Let's turn to the background of the project. This scheme illustrates the challenges when developing a long-term water resource management. So on one side, you have to know the evolution of the water resources, which are, as you know, affected by climate change, but also land use change. On the other side, you have to know the evolution of the water demand, which can be affected by the population increase and the change in water use. And finally, based on the information on the evolution of water resources and water demand, you have to develop a sustainable management of the water resources that is in respect with the environmental objective of the Water Framework Directive. So during the project, we will consider all the changes, not only climate change, but also land use change and water demand change. And we regroup all these modifications under the term global change. Briefly, the project has 3 main activities. First, it will develop a methodology to study the impact of global change on the water resources of a river basin and formulate adaptation and mitigation measures. Then it will develop a modeling system that can link a wide range of models, simulate the impact of different scenarios of global change, compare the results via graphics, tables, and GIS viewer, and finally assessing water management and land development adaptation strategies. On the last step, we will apply the methodology and the modeling system to a river basin in Spain near Barcelona. So on the next slide, I will expand on the modeling system and the applications. So the modeling system, the main idea was to develop a generic tool that can be applied in any river basin and by river basin agency or private companies. To do so, the modeling tool will link automatically the models that have been developed by this organism. And finally, the modeling tool will run the models and we will compare the results. This is a small river basin, but quite important because it supplies water for around 40% of the Barcelona region, which has something like 3 million people. The actual situation is that the disponibility of water is more or less equal to the resources, and this balance can be strongly affected by climate change and global change. So the first step when developing the case study will be to make the global change scenarios, which will be the input of the models. So we will consider climate change, demand change, and land use change. For the climate change, we will use some downscaling methods. This will be useful to have some modeling results adapted to the scale of the hydrological process in the basin. The next step is to develop the models that will be used. So we'll use water management model, hydrological model using HBV, and water quality model using the software JSCAL. After that, the modeling tool will be used to link this model together, as shown in the graph. I will not go in details. So, in conclusion, let me remind you the expected results of the project. So we will have, it will produce a decision support tool for planning, having into account the evolution of water resources and the possible impacts. The case study will improve the knowledge of global change impacts on the availability and quality of water resources. It will establish mitigation and adaptation measures. And during the case study, we will also improve the knowledge about costs and benefits, economical and environmental, of each different measures. It will finally bring objective data in order to help to shape the social perception of the global change problem. And it will orientate and improve the current and future policy of water resources, infrastructures, and water services. Well, thank you very much for your attention.
I must inform that we have unfortunately run out of projects now. Just when I know you were starting to feel hungry for more.